appreciate the fact that in this song, I am being drawn towards their part that they are doing, and not just to Freddie's voice. Hi everyone! Today, I get to move ahead to the next Queen album, A Day at the Races, and the title of the song is Tie Your Mother Down. Now, before I get into it, I'm going to just make a quick detour and say something completely unrelated. Sort of. Well, I've been reading a few comments lately, and I noticed some comments coming in saying, well, one the other day said, "Do you need some money for clothes? I notice you wear the same blouse every single day." And somebody else said, I feel like you did all of this on a Saturday afternoon because it's the same outfit every time." Well, let me tell you something. First of all, no, I don't need money for new clothes. I actually have quite a few clothes. I'm a first-time mother. I am not a professional videographer. I may be a professional musician and a teacher and all of this, but I don't, it's not my profession to sit in front of the camera. When the time comes, when we have a few spare minutes to make a video, either the baby is asleep or in the hands of a babysitter, and as soon as that opportunity comes, I have to be ready because it doesn't last. And so I have gotten in the habit of just keeping this same outfit at the ready, no matter what. It's always waiting for me, fresh. When I have a chance, I just throw it on and we go. Now, maybe down the road, when things calm down a little bit, I might get a little more, I don't know, experimental, variety, you know. You won't feel like I'm just recording all of this on the same Saturday afternoon. Now, Tie Your Mother Down, A Day at the Races. As usual, Vlad has given me a little background information to read. So, let's see what it says. A Day at the Races was from 1976, so we're moving ahead in time a little bit. It follows A Night at the Opera. The album serves as a companion for their previous album, A Night at the Opera, with both taking their names from Marx Brothers films. Marx Brothers! Well, like Harpo Marx, I suppose, right? I think he was a great harpist. And having similar packaging and eclectic musical themes. I never really caught on to this idea that A Night at the Opera title came from the Marx Brothers films, but it makes sense now. Tie Your Mother Down was written by Brian May in Tenerife in early 1968, 2 years before the formation of Queen. At the time, he was working on his PhD in astronomy. He wrote the song on Spanish guitar and thought he'd change the title and chorus later on, but when he brought it to the band for inclusion on this album, Freddie Mercury liked the original, and it was kept the way it was written. The main bulk of the song can be described as heavy blues rock featuring aggressive vocals by lead singer Mercury, as well as a slide guitar solo by May, who provided most of the backing vocals. Well, I'm curious to see how Mercury does an aggressive voice, because a lot of what I've heard him doing has been much more lyrical. This will be interesting. that one's not charged, I don't know what is. Well, of course he doesn't mean it seriously, right? But it's so full of this sort of teenage sexual energy that's just charging in, and you can feel the adrenaline, and you can feel the rush, and you can feel the desperation, and they really do. I mean, even the lyrics are really juvenile, hilariously so, and exaggerated in the way that teenagers do when they are crazy about something. Anyway, let's go back and I'll listen again and pause, stop, comment, the usual, and see what we come up with. I like the way this is kind of an ominous opening. This feels a bit like a fanfare. That little harmonica sound coming in. It's maybe more accordion, maybe more organ. It's interesting metallic sound. And there we light into it. Well, one thing I noticed is that this is very much a more hard style, but still, it's very approachable for me, very relatable. I'm thinking back to my days when I first listened to Metallica. That was the first hard piece of music that I listened to in this whole project. And the challenge I had to listen and work through the onslaught of the avalanche of sound and the overwhelming sonic experience. I'm curious to go back now and see if I feel the same way about it, or to see if really truly this one is in some way easier for me to listen to. It would be interesting for me to compare the two and see sound-wise. Of course,
maybe we should do it.
Maybe we should. Yeah. Of course, content-wise, they're very, very different in the message and the purpose, but I'm just thinking of the sound quality and the hardness of it, and the way that was my first experience with something hard like that. And now this sounds... It is harder than I would choose to listen to, just because that's not my personality. But at the same time, I was able to enjoy it and go along with the ride this time. And that's something that I've noticed in this Queen journey, is even... What was the one about cars? I love my car. I'm in love with my car. Even that one. Okay. Am I going to turn that on to listen to one day? What for? It's not me. At the same time, I enjoyed the experience. It was interesting, and I was able to go along with it. And I've noticed myself in this Queen journey being able to relate to some of these harder songs more comfortably. That was a little digression from the song, but it's something that I'm observing about myself and this experience here and now, and it has been building up, I guess, in the recent months. And, well, yeah, maybe we should go back and listen to a bit of Metallica sometime and just see how it is. This starts with this really great, electrified riff. And it pretty much goes like that all the way through the piece of music, except for a couple places where I noticed it launched into a sort of chorus anthem, which I want to hear because I really enjoyed that the break in pacing that it gave. Well, it wasn't really a break in pacing, but the change in feel. And yet it wasn't such a long break that we lost the momentum and the energy of this guitar riff happening. Oh yes, and I said that I was curious to see how Freddie's voice sounded in a harder style. Well, it actually doesn't sound too bad. I like the way that this riff builds the energy. I really feel like it works incredibly well here. It's very simple. Dum da 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 dum ba da da dum ba da da dum ba da da dum da 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 dum da da da, and you can see it on paper as well that it's pretty much the same thing over and over and over and over again. But it works so well in kind of creating the energy, the drive, the passion in this. And then this little bit here where it walks down. Bum, 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 bum is just enough to give us a break so we don't start falling into this sort of hypnotic daze where it loses its effect. That's one of the things with repetition in music. When we have a lot of intense repetition, after a little while, our natural response is to kind of tune it out or let it fade into the background, and it loses its impact unless we do something to change it up or sharpen it a bit. Bring it back into focus. And that's what this little insertion does for us here. Back into it. Just 4 descending notes. And then this shift here, which again, it's still the same rhythmic feel, but now it's a little bit, I guess I would say, more earthy, more down on the rocks, grinding a bit. And well, we could even take that word and say, well, it's a sexual song anyway. So, okay, grinding, fine. Dancing, grinding, it all fits. But that grittiness there really takes us deeper into this energy. Now we're back into this. Nice, smooth transition. A little sweet, climbing up. I love the way that chorus comes in there. I really do. Because without it, it wouldn't have the same sort of joyful excitement. Okay, yes, it's high energy. it really gets us to kind of sink our teeth into it, grab hold of it, and enjoy the momentum and the drive and the energy and the earthy quality of it. But then, if it didn't have that little chorus break there, it would be just that. And okay, it'd be great fun, nice. This little bit of chorus here, where the notes suddenly stretch out and there are backing vocals which give it a very chorus-like effect, multiple parts for harmony. It's not new to Queen. Well, okay, Brian May did this even before Queen existed, but as far as what I've heard with Queen, I hear this kind of chorus in their music, these chorus moments in their music, and I like it. I like the way it changes things a bit. And it's not so much here that, as I said, we don't lose the energy. In fact, they stay right on the beat all the way through. It's the same beat underneath it. We could count it. It's almost like when they launch into that chorus, you feel the beat even more strongly because it's not being punched every time. It's a very interesting thing that happens in music, but it's like, let's see, how else could I explain it? The music is charging along, dum da dum dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum, and because the notes are longer, we find ourselves grabbing for the beat more strongly. So dum ba dum ba dum, the guitar is doing the work for us. The drums are doing the work for us. We can just ride along. Dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum, and suddenly we have to take hold of that beat, bum bum, and you can feel it, and you begin. It makes you grab for it and actively participate in order to keep hold of it. The drums are there, and the guitar, and suddenly here we are, and then the guitar takes over for us again. You gotta love the frustration of the teenager who has a girlfriend and he wants to spend a night with her, and she's from a good family, well behaved, and her parents don't allow those sorts of things, and how can he get to her because he's crazy about her, and that's what it sounds like. Come on! Tie your mother down, do something, get your dad out of that, something, what did we have to do something here? A little those guys. No, I don't give a lie, gonna make out all right. Deep in the good stuff. Sweet on hand, and put a stop to all that. I'm in the process, but all night. Tie your mother down. Stepping up there. Tie your mother down. Take your little brother swimming with a creek. That's alright. Tie your mother down. Yeah. Tie your mother down. On your way. I like the way the bass does this little bit of walking up as well, and we become aware of it more because everything else around is so repetitive. Although there are a couple little things that happen from time to time that brighten it and keep it from being monotonous. Let's back up a little bit, see if I can really point one out. Right there. dun 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 wee, right over the top, and then we go on, right? And walking up. And it's interesting, we're walking up, bum, 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 but then the notes stay down in the, bathtub area. Bum, 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 bum. There's a little bit of tubby resonance there. And in that tubby area, we hear the bass still. Bum, 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 bum. Walking up, keeping us from sinking under and becoming submerged and again losing our momentum. But there's something underneath. Bum, 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 bum. Keeping us just here. That's alright. Tie your mother down. Yeah, yeah. Tie your mother down. Or you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't no friend of mine. What a declaration. What a declaration. And again, it's great the way that they choose where to place certain lyrics with that extended rhythm in the chorus so that it begins to feel like a declaration that at the same time you might shout it from the rooftops, but really we're not going anywhere. Down, or you ain't no friend of mine. And of course, Freddie's voice, his lungs are capable of holding that out. He holds it out. In fact, I think he could hold it out even longer if he wanted to. You don't feel like he's running out of air there. But I like the way that even in this more aggressive voice of his pitch is very clear. And he never loses the color of his voice. It's still very much, I like his voice. Let's just say that. I think his voice is great. Whether it's being used this way or like Love of My Life or Barcelona or, he had a great voice. He did. But I find myself being drawn, I'm enjoying his voice here, but I find myself being drawn towards the instrument portion of it and appreciating the drums, the guitar, the bass, and of course, the players of those instruments. I feel like in this song, they really shine. They really come alive. And I like that because, of course, as I've said once or twice before, Queen is more than just Freddie. And of course, Freddie has this charisma and this persona, which is larger than life and can take up the whole room and the whole world. And yet, he wasn't the only one. And these other members of the band are also so good, so well balanced. They balance each other out, and they work together so incredibly well. And I appreciate the fact that in this song, I am being drawn towards their part that they are doing, and not just to Freddie's voice. Tie your mother down, or you ain't no friend of mine. I noticed this the first time around too, in this guitar solo. The way he enters it, from what came before, there's nothing really striking about it. But then as he starts to do this scale descending da 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 and takes it down into the lower range, it feels so good. It works so well. And again, it kind of anchors us to the ground. And we're enjoying the ground here. He's climbing up a little bit, but he doesn't just go shooting up to the top again. He's really exploring and exploiting the sonic qualities of that lower portion of the range. Now he's up in the top. But he's coming to the top from underneath, and he's sliding up to it. He's always coming from underneath. And then he pokes his head out the top and comes back, slides up to it again. It's a great use of the slide qualities of this instrument, because I want to say that to my ears, now I'm not a guitarist, so I can't say technically, but to my ears, what he's doing here sounds very idiomatic to the instrument, meaning that it feels like it belongs to this particular instrument. And maybe we could mimic it on something else, but it's so good here and it's so satisfying here. I don't think another instrument could make it as enjoyable. If someone wants to prove me wrong, go ahead. But it feels like the way he's constructed this solo and the way he's playing it, it's a marriage of music and instrument. And it's hard to separate the two. Nice little break there in the momentum, texture, and it almost feels like somebody hitting their fist in frustration or stomping their foot, or like, can't we just work something out? Can't we find a way to make this work? And I like that line too, because again, it's breaking the rhythm, the flow, so that, because as I said, this is so repetitive, and yet it is never monotonous. And I love the balance of the two in this song. The repetitiveness gives us the drive and the energy, and yet all of these little tweaks that are happening along the way, and the little details and layers of what's going on. It's not a, I wouldn't say that it's a simplistic piece of music, because there's so many little things coming in here, there, one place or another, to keep it alive all the way through. It's not just a long rant that somebody came up with because he was frustrated or whatever. it's got a whole lot more life to it than that. There's this sort of humorous quality to it, and there's a sort of happiness to it. It's not just all angst and anger, but it has all these different layers, different qualities coming in and participating and contributing, and musically and personality-wise and emotionally, all the different things coming in keep it interesting and are keeping it engaging all the way to the very end. And so here, suddenly, big, like, who came up with that? But it works. It works so well. And again, it sounds really kind of juvenile, but brilliantly so. And, well, it's kind of fun. And the way that the drums accentuate, it's too good. One more time. Also the guitar in that moment. Because the drums are hitting it, the voice is saying it, and then the guitar, you hear this note that is crescendoing and growing, and there's a bit of vibrato developing, and then it carries on. I love the ending too. It ends with a splash, with flair, and again, it's not just one grand crescendo to the end. Neither does it just fade out. It doesn't come to a halt and sputter aimlessly. There's a balance to it and a really great progression. And so we hear this swirl of sound and all the groove and repetition that has been carrying on. It all comes piling in at once, but then it separates enough and we hear the drums give a little bit of clarity, a little bit of focus there. And out of that comes the final flourish. And so we really get to feel the effect of those last few seconds, really fresh. There we go. I think that was great. It was yet another side of Queen. I don't think I've heard anything so far on this project that sounds exactly like that. Yes, I'm in Love with My Car was a hard style as well, but it was different. These two feel different, sound different, and have different qualities. And again, that brings out what Vlad is trying to demonstrate on this journey is the versatility of Queen. He wants me to be able to experience and discover how versatile and adaptable they were. And I have to say that this, they picked it up and ran with it, and it was great. Don't forget that if you want more early access, you can always find that on Patreon. You can always find the Beatles 150 series and The Wall and special editions and other things there as well. But yes, I'm enjoying this and I'm eager to see what comes next. Who knows what it will be? I'll see you next time.